walk you through Ajinkya's story again. I think we have already heard it. But next slide, please. Yeah. So I am from Mumbai. Came to Pune, started my masters here. There was an incinerator in my hostel. Unfortunately, the chimney of the incinerator, which was supposed to go up, was coming down. And I never really knew of any kind of incinerator. I had never really seen them. So I just asked one of my seniors what this is, and she told me that that we basically dispose of the sanitary pads and all of those things. So when I got my periods the next month, I went there and I put my pad in. Imagine the scenario, right? The pads which were going in, the all the smoke, entire smoke was just filled inside the corridor. Imagine how embarrassed I would have been. Later, I somehow, maybe destiny, but I came to know of Ajinkya. I told him that, you have faced one problem, you're a mechanical engineer. I have faced one problem. I am a microbiologist. You are going to need me at some point of time. I want to solve this problem. And out of destiny, we joined hands. We started with bad care. Not working. So, of course, these two problems we knew. But again, talking to just two people and understanding problem doesn't really make any sense. You have to understand your ICPs. You have to define your problem really, really well. When I talk of ICPs, that is the ideal customer profile, they are the ones who can actually tell you what kinds of problems they face. Just by talking to me or talking to Ajinkya is not going to solve the purpose in any way because you just have two perceptions, right? We spoke to almost 3,000 to 4,000 females just to understand the kinds of problems they face. Even when you are defining your ICPs, you have to map out your geographies, your such locations where you think they might face this problem. So we took up government organizations, we took private colleges, we took corporates. We also spoke to some homemakers and all, and we try to understand the kinds of problems they face when they are menstruating, maybe in their houses, maybe in their office premises, etc. And we realized that, next slide please, Ajinkya and I had only thought of disposal part of it, but the problem started right from awareness. So there's one organization called Industrial Training Institute in Aum. So just to give you a background of what ITI is, people come there from a very remote background. They are just passed out from 10th standard. And since they are from a remote background, menstruation is a big taboo for them. They won't really talk. So when I went there for the first time, again, this was just for my market understanding. I tried talking to them for almost 2 hours just to get the gist of what kinds of problems they face because we wanted to develop this product. And post 2 hours, these girls did not talk to me. They were so shy. They were looking here. They did not say a single word. I just came back. Considering that was a situation where I really could not understand what these students were facing, but I realized one thing that they were not speaking because there was a taboo. Awareness was a big time issue. Second, of course, accessibility. So a lot of people also said that डिस्पोजल करके क्या करोगे वो तो बात का है डस्टबिन होती है हम डाल देंगे आप पैड्स दो पहले हमें यहाँ पे पैड्स ही नहीं है that is when we realized that accessibility is the second problem. Third, segregation. We spoke, like even in Ajinkya's case, when he visited this landfill site, he saw them segregated. Why did that segregation come into place? Why don't we do three-way segregation in India? Why? I'm sure most of you don't know here what happens to your pile after you dispose them of your dustbins, right? Because for a female, it ends right when it goes to the dustbin. So these waste pickers whom we spoke to almost across, I think 10 to 12 landfills across India, all of them said that the pads which are going in are essentially, we don't know where they're coming from. They're just stacked in the newspaper. Sometimes they're just lying there. We have to hold them using our bare hands because we can't wear gloves for 24 hours. And fourth, then that is where our perception came into picture that disposal is not happening properly because when it goes to the landfill, it is taking 800 years. When it is going to the incineration facilities, of course, it's causing you all the health hazards as well as environmental health. Next slide, please. That is when we realized that this step is extremely important. We mapped our ICPs. We also spoke to a couple of people who are not in India but outside because we want to take this to the global level. We understood all of this. Next slide, please. we realized that though we were just limiting ourselves to starting off with corporates or B2B segment, but we realized that our market is not just here, it's there in the housing society, it's there in the community level as well. So Ajinkya spoke of us doing it there. Very happy to say we are already doing 20 housing societies. We are doing two community level projects, one in Mahabaleshwar, one in Darjeeling, where the entire cities are currently getting recycled by Packet. Again, that is how far we have come. Next slide, please. So, whenever you're trying to build your product, right, you know your ICPs, you know what kinds of problems you're trying to solve. Now is the time when you start building your product. As researchers, what we essentially do is we go into the lab and we start experimenting without even thinking whether or not what we are doing is really necessary or not. And that is something which was even my perception when I started. I went to Aditya, nahi, nahi, I'll do CFP plating, I'll do this, I'll do that. He was like, रुक जा, पहले देख ले, क्या करना है. So those are not some things which we are taught in the college, but we learn it through the experience, right? So this was our first machine which we made back in 2019 initially, and so this was just a shredder wherein one part could go at a time. It would shred and we just had a mix of cellulose and plastic. This was the first concept, a POC level product which we had shown to Sudhamurthy ma'am during our open Infosys, and then we won that competition. We got 5 lakhs of prize money from there as well. We again started from that. Then we developed this MVP. There were two more machines in between this. Somehow those are not existent anymore. They are completely destroyed. But on the similar lines, so our concept was that we could actually have a machine which could process one pad at a time, and this would essentially be inside the washroom cubicle. So this whole entire machine that you can see there, MVP2 was nowhere in the picture till almost initial of 2020. our whole concept was कि वॉशरूम में ही आपका डिस्पोजल भी हो जाएगा वहां से हम मटेरियल कलेक्ट करके हम उसको we'll make different products out of it. That was the whole idea. So we deployed such तभी नाम भी Sanicure था. We rebranded almost 3 times, I guess. But I think that is a part of the journey. So Sanicure was there back then. We deployed this at e-buses. If you have seen pink buses around Pune, that was one of the target markets because we wanted to understand the public washroom scenario. We did it in ITI again, we did it in IISER, we did it in NCL, and in one of the corporates, Infosys itself, yes. And we tried to understand how it is working out, and we realized that our machine has a shredder, it needs a water input, hence electricity is something that you would need at all times. Now, how is it going to work in T-buses if there is no electricity? Government colleges don't essentially have water supply and electricity at all times, right? So I think this was right when COVID was coming, I think, and we realized that we are nowhere because this product is definitely not scalable. And COVID came, and then we were like, "A company band karni padegi because we are not going anywhere with this." So this happened. We took good amount of break. We worked on different kinds of projects back then because there was some expertise that we had in the UV systems. So we developed a system for mask disinfection because mask was at shortage. We since this technology is suitable for plastic as well as cellulose, we recycled masks during those times. So what I'm trying to say here is that you have to always look out for opportunities. Some opportunities could be long term, some could be short term. You're not doing masks anymore because no one really wears them. But at that point of time, a microbiologist and a mechanical engineer understood how to sell your product, which we did not really know. We sold our services in Air Force, in some of the hospitals as well, and that is when we understood the unit economics and all of those aspects. After COVID, we were like, "अब बस हो गया, वापस आते हैं अपने पहले वाले project पे," and that is where we realized that since that machine is not really scalable, the cost is also very high. People should give you that kind of money as well. So we pivoted all together and we thought let's separate it out. And the bin that Ajinkya showed you was the next product that came after almost 2.5 years of our R&D. That was the first machine which we made, which can process 100 kgs per day. We developed it as an R&D product, but now it is currently already commercialized. We are using it on full scale. So, like Ajinkya also said, two outputs that we get here is wood pulp and plastic. So we have developed a 5D technology. With these 5Ds are disinfection, deodorization, decolorization, disintegration, and deactivation of superabsorbent polymer. So the idea is that whatever output that you're getting has to be fit for recycling. There shouldn't be any kinds of problems that you're facing because of it later. So this is what we did. Next slide, please. Like I said, start doing your pilots right when you have your POC itself, because that is where you understand the next steps of it. It shouldn't happen that you started making something you think the best product है ये दुनिया का सब जगह पे चलेगा. Your perception is not the last perception. Next slide, please. You have to always keep improvising, and that is what we did. Today, this is our machine that we have, the one which we showed you. These are the 5Ds. We have received the Indian patent. USPTO is still in the process. Next slide, please. Defining your business model is also extremely important. I just spoke to you about one operational model that we are currently doing, or from where 80% of our revenue is coming today. But as an innovator, your innovation should not just be into product development. You also have to think about where or I can innovate. We are trying to innovate our supply chain as well. कहाँ पे cost save होगी, कहाँ पे मेरा time बचेगा. All those are very continuous things that can save you a lot of money. Other revenue channels which we have currently identified are EPR. So we are working with Procter and Gamble, we are working with Johnson and Johnson, we are also working with Kimberly-Clark. So EPR is essentially a concept wherein all these sanitary pad manufacturers, since they are generating these sanitary pads, they have a backing from the government saying that you're creating so much of pollution out of your product. What are you really doing about it? That is where your extended producer responsibility comes into picture. Hence, these people are closely looking at pad care, because then they can tell the government that pad care is recycling our funds. And that is where we can earn money from. And this data which we give them comes with a huge cost. But again, this is something which is futuristic. And of course, the output material that we are selling, so we've already made calendars, diaries out of it. The paper and packaging industry is something that I think you mentioned you of, but now we are also doing this in chemical industries. We are also working with additive wherein we are using this cellulose as a raw material for rayon manufacturing. So that is how the scale has to come, because paper and packaging is good for impact, good for showing people. But your revenue can't really come from that. Diary, calendar, how much are they going to pay you? But if at all you're giving this to Aditya Birla on a monthly basis, they have a requirement of approximately around 15 tons of cellulose. That is going to give you a huge cost. So that is something which you have to map out again. What are my short-term revenue channels? What are my long-term revenue channels? And you have to start working on it from day one itself. Next slide, please. So again, Ajinkya showed you कि हमारे पास vending machine है, we have this bin, we have this processing unit. It is extremely important to position your products well. Vending machine was nowhere in the picture initially. Our entire work was around Padcare X, which is the recycling unit. But when we started deploying these, right, in corporates, they said that you're giving us a disposal solution. Why don't you also give us vending machine? That is when we realized कि ठीक है भाई, हमारे engineers हैं, we are all innovators. Let's do something about vending machines. So we developed, this is the compactest machine in the entire world, which can have 50 pads. You will not find such machines anywhere. They'll either have 25 to 30 pads capacity, they'll be this huge, not very appealing for the corporates. But this is something that we have come up with. Again, there are three variants. There is an RFID machine, there is a sensor-based machine, there is a pointless QR operated machines, and we have a tie-up with pad manufacturers because we don't really want to get into it. Padcare being an innovation company, we want to focus on innovation rather than manufacturing pads, which is not very innovative, to be very honest. So this is how we place that whole product. Next slide, please. So like I said, we are operating in 15 cities today, impacting 5 lakh females, processing more than 20 lakh pads and saving 107 metric tons of carbon. While this journey happens, right, you have seen one machine, but it is also important to upscale and upgrade your technology every now and then, because now it's like everyone knows Packer is doing this, Packer is growing. People see that opportunity coming. Unless and until you're not constantly innovating, you're not constantly upgrading or upscaling your technology, a big player will come, he will literally stand and go ahead. So that has to be a continuous innovation. Next slide. So that is what we did. Actually, this image I did not have, but this Packer X is now, it can process 1.5 metric ton. approximately 50,000 pads per day. So we have come from 15,000 to 50,000 now. We have set up this entire factory. This is in Pashan itself. We have the 100 kg processing. We have 1.5 as well. And again, we have a PPP system in place. So whatever water we are currently consuming is all getting recycled and used back into the machine. So the entire waste which is currently getting generated at pad care is getting recycled. There is absolutely no wastage. Next slide, please. These are some of the cities that we are working in. We have added Pondicherry and Trichy, so that will come up to 50. Next slide, please. So, like I said, innovation has to be the key. What we also recently introduced is an impact dashboard. Now, all these corporates they have a net zero goal. So what we essentially do is we track this carbon mechanism. We also got our LCA done, that is life cycle assessment. So we know how much carbon emissions we are generating, how is it related to landfilling and incineration, which are the essential other methods of disposal, right? And we realized that we are emitting 58% less carbon than incineration, landfilling, and 68% less than incineration. So again, though these figures are huge, we still have to see how these could be reached because a new player will always come. So that innovation is something which is still happening. So a lot of corporates that have shifted from the existing corporates have shifted to Padcare is only because of this reason, because we are helping them to achieve their net zero goals, their ESG goals, and that is when you have to identify your USPs and work accordingly and pitch it accordingly. We also do real-time tracking. So a lot of our clients, all of our clients already know from in the pads were collected from their facility, how much of it was collected, what was the impact in terms of landfill space, say what was the carbon conservation that has happened. All of those things are taken care of. We also introduced a WhatsApp chat. So on WhatsApp, you can track your periods. You just need to scan a code, few details they will ask, and they will give you your tentative period date as well. So that is something which we just recently started with. Next slide, please. So essentially, it is also important for you to know your competitors because when you're pitching to any corporate or any of your other customers, it could be B2B, B2C, B2G, whatever. But again, these things will come up saying that, okay, fine, this is happening here. What is something else that you're doing? That is where your competitive analysis has to be very, very clear. So there are a couple of organizations who are providing such services, but they are not essentially recycling it. They are either putting it into landfills or incineration, or recently there's been a concept of low temperature thermal decomposition specifically for sanitary pads as well. So that also we did, and we realized that our alignment in terms of regulatory clearance is also there, which we recently got a CCD approval. We also have, we are the only company who is actually recycling it as against landfilling or incineration. So that is how we are better than the existing clients, and that is what helps us reach our clients, and that is how we have more than 500 corporates in our clientele right now. Next thing. We have been certified by CPCB, MOEF, and IAPLO. So I would recommend this that if you're taking up some project like this, on day one, you apply for your government approval. We did this back in 2019. We have just recently got our CPCB approval. It is a long process, and for newer technologies, there are no set guidelines. So it takes up a lot of time for even them to understand that what they have to do. A lot of follow-ups with MPCB, CPCB is something that keeps happening. So if at all you're getting into something like this, apply your CPCB or any government approval on day one. Next slide, please. So these are just some of the clients that we are currently serving. We also onboarded a couple of educational institutes like Symbiosis University, Ashoka University. We are also doing Dunia College, NCL, Book Institute, to name a few. So this is just a case study of Mahindra Group, whom we are serving for almost 2 years now. So we have collected 75,000 packs from them till date. They have been recycled, that is approximately 1.87 metric tons of material. We have saved 37 metric tons of landfill area and 4 metric tons of carbon emissions. A very important aspect for startups is so we always think that we are a private limited company, we are not eligible for CSR funds. But that is not the case. Being a startup, you are eligible to take CSR funds. How you essentially do it is you basic. So how we Package basically does is that we basically pitch this to a CSR funder. They give us some project that they may want to do in the community level or in the housing or maybe at the government school level as well. Once this comes, they either give it to us directly depending upon their company policies or they route it through some incubation center or through some NGO partners. So this is an additional source of revenue that you can have. Of course, this is a very long shot. If you have if you pitch it today, probably this project will turn out after 1 or 2 years, but that amount is huge. And that impact that you can create is also very huge. So just one project that we are currently almost on the verge of starting is with Yerwada Jail. In Yerwada Jail, people don't even have access to sanitary pads, the prisoners over there. Imagine the kind of impact that we could create, right? These are just some of the organizations that we have worked in the past. USAID, Commons India Foundation, we are doing this project across 40 PMC schools currently. HON Foundation, eConnect SBI, Formatic to name a few. So team is extremely, extremely important. If you don't find the right people, you will never, never, never be able to. I have seen startups, fellow startups. So we were based out of SCL itself, Venture Center, and it is an ecosystem for all the startups. So we have seen people who have started with us just because they did not get right people in their team, they have failed miserably. So you need to have people, at least in the initial stage, we should be as dedicated as you are. Otherwise, things don't really work out. We are a team of almost, so we started with three, we are three founding members. And today we are a team of almost 60 people pan India. Next slide, please. So, very fortunate enough, but we have been supported by Mr. Anand Mahindrani Sudhamurthy ma'am. So, these small gestures also help you a lot. It motivates you a lot when you're starting your journey, right? And this is something that we have had. So, thank you. And I'm totally ready to
Start of the competition because there is somebody who you have patented technology, but similar technology people can also be in the market, right?
No, there is no
Not
such thing.
exactly the same, but you must have there is some.
So there is one company, literally, Tata Smart. It is actually a sister company of Procter and Gamble itself, ENG, who has this mortality pad. But essentially, we are doing it for diapers. The technology is a bit different living as against chemical incineration, so their energy consumption is very high. Again, the material recovery is not very up to the mark. So they actually started way back in 2007 and they're still not commercialized. So not sure what exactly happening in their R&D department, but this is how the case has been.
And globally also similar technologies are not existing in other areas.
No, this is in Italy. Two other companies were there, but they have shut long back. They could not scale.
Scale. Excellent, excellent presentation, very good initiative. Really, we are appreciating. You are from architecture.
Yeah.
You are microbiologist.
I did my microbiology from Rohia College, Mumbai. I did my master's in biotech from IIC. Yeah.
I have a question. So you said you recycle the pads, right? So you get two different products, cellulose and something else.
Yeah.
So how you thought of utilizing those what is recycled product to sell it out to Aditya Birla Group, you said. So can you please little bit explore about that?
So a lot of our own mentors when we started were very against of actually recycling this kind of material. Dr. Prerna was one of them. But you have to be confident about what you are doing. So even today, whenever anyone is coming to our facility, we lift that material just coming out of the machine with our bare hands because we know that it is safe. When you're doing something like this, eventually even the person who is in front of you gains that confidence because if you are trusting your own product, they will also do it right. The second aspect of this is the wood pulp that is used or the cellulose that is used in sanitary pads is of extremely high quality because it is a hygiene product. And we got it tested and everything, and we realized that there is no difference in the properties of the virgin cellulose as against ours. So why not recycle it? Wood pulp industry is the costs are increasing today. Virgin pulp goes at around 141 rupees per kg. Our material, we are ready to give it at just 70 rupees, and we already have 250 vendors with whom we are doing it. The quality is the same, then why not use it? For them also, it is cost savings.
Excellent thought. This was behind this.
Thank you. Yeah.
Like that. Like Shasti.
Hi, it's a very, very nice initiative and enjoy your talk a lot, including that Shark Tank video. I just want to ask, you said that you have installed some units in the household as well. So do you have any like connection system, like person go to home basis? Because I don't know if I may not have observed it because I have not seen it like in our society or any of our friends society. So how much like how many units you have installed in Pune? Or is it like going on it's in process?
So, one thing that you have to be very mindful of while scaling up into different segments is that you should not try to change the user behavior. Because if you try to change it, even we were discussing during the breakfast, right, that changing human behavior is very, very difficult. It will take a lot of time for you to scale up. Uh, Scenarios I'll tell you, right? If I want to dispose of my car, my in-laws are at home. I can't expect my father-in-law to hand over my pets to someone, right? Because I'm not there, I'm in the office. So, uh, what we have essentially done is we are customizing the solution basis the existing waste management practices in their housing societies. We don't do door-to-door collection. We have a safe box which is there somewhere in the housing society premises itself. Basis the existing waste management practices in their society, we customize the solution for them, and the pads are segregated at source itself. So it depends on what they have, but we can definitely customize it. So in Pune, we are currently doing three housing societies. One is on Law College Road, and two are in Kalyani Nagar, and other societies we are doing in Bangalore and Mumbai. So that is a new market for us as well because again, customizing it a lot is again not a very scalable option for you because in for your operations team to really work on so many different operational models, it is not that easy. So again, you have to break that barrier somewhere. But we are in that stage when we are just trying to understand the market. It's not like we are commercialized completely, but it is just for our understanding of how we can do it. Because if you see, as females, we are comfortable disposing of our pads in the home as against the public washrooms, right? So the major chunk of sanitary pads is going to come from the homes. So hence that is at a very initial stage of trying to find out what suits best.
Thank you.
Okay, I have another question.
Yeah.
So this whole unit product it comes of three parts. Means basically one is the vendor, another is the disposal bin, and then the third one is the incinerator. Means incinerator, no, whatever the for the thing,
Yeah.
for recycling of product. So all these three comes in one packet. No. So suppose means my question is when you put it in the housing society, what type of the three parts you are putting in?
So in case of housing societies, vending machine is not required because in your houses you won't use vending machine. That is your own choice which pad you want to use. We just provide the disposal system for it. Uh, the pads are collected and there is one safe box in the housing society premises itself somewhere from where our team collects it and brings it to the recycling station. So as such, the recycling station is not at the client's location, it is at the own facility that we have. It's just the collection system that we provide.
So can we approach someone to buy that disposal bin for my
Absolutely.
housing society?
Absolutely.
Or for an institute for like
Absolutely.
Already, I think they are doing
We are.
Bharti with most of the colleges are doing.
Bharti, we are not doing yet.
But then who is doing? Because we got the circular. Most of the colleges, medical college and others, I think 5 colleges have installed this. So I was thinking it is yours.
No, it's not happening.
So is there any such similar competitor company working for it?
There are a couple of companies, but they hand over this material to the local municipal corporation from where it goes to landfill and incineration. They are not recycling.
No, because we receive circular, every college has received circular. Almost 40% colleges have already installed.
Right.
And we are being encouraged that every college should
Right.
install.
We can definitely get in touch and
We can talk to management.
Absolutely.
Maybe explain what, because they are sensitized, they want to do it, and it is being done. So this is right stage we may be able to.
absolutely.
हेलो मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि जिस तरह से आपने शॉर्ट टर्म गोल्स लॉन्ग टर्म गोल्स प्लान किए उस तरह से अपने आपके जो ट्रेडर्स है ओके वो शॉर्ट टर्म और लॉन्ग टर्म क्या है ये आइडेंटिफाई किए हैं। जो बिजनेस करते वक्त जो ट्रेडर होते कि ये हो सकता है वर्स्ट ये हो सकता है ऐसे मैनेजमेंट किया है जिस तरह से आपने गोल का मैनेजमेंट किया है कि मुझे कहाँ तक जाना है वैसे ही अपने ट्रेडर का मैनेजमेंट किया है कि शॉर्ट टर्म क्या हो सकते हैं
इसका मैनेजमेंट Absolutely. Risk assessment you have to do it at every stage. आप जब भी प्रोडक्ट भी बनाना स्टार्ट करते हो तभी भी आपको रिस्क असेसमेंट करना ही है कि अगर वेरी बेसिक थिंग आई एम माइक्रोबायोलॉजिस्ट हमें जब कॉलेज से केमिकल्स मिलते थे हम यूज कर लेते थे ऐसे हाँ ठीक है 500 रुपए की ही तो है ना 500 ग्राम्स की बोतल कितना ही खर्चा जाएगा बट when you think of scale do you think that me using this chemical is going to make a lot of sense when I scale it up अभी 500 है but when I'm doing but if at all I'm needing this से मेरा अगर एक बैच में मुझे 15-15 किलो का मटेरियल लग रहा है डज दिस मेक एनी सेंस अभी अगर मैं इतना इन्वेस्ट कर रही हूँ आगे जाके मुझे समझा कि अरे ये तो पॉसिबल ही नहीं है फिर मैं क्या करूंगी आई हैव लॉस्ट दैट टाइम आई लॉस्ट दैट कैपिटल तो वो रिस्क असेसमेंट होना चाहिए सेकंड इन टर्म्स ऑफ बिजनेस एज वेल कि अगर कल को कोई कॉम्पिटिटर आ जाता है बेटर टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ what am I supposed to do? Do I have to constantly keep innovating? How is the market working? How is the user thinking? वो सारी चीजें आपको कंसिडर करनी पड़ेंगी फ्रॉम द डे वन इटसेल्फ
थैंक यू
थैंक यू वेरी मच
What a wonderful and inspiring story you shared, ma'am. Thank you for being here and letting us know about your story and struggle. We have heard many times that there is no shortcut to success, and after listening to your story, we find it true. We are now open. Now, I request Valerie to introduce Dr. Anirudh Joshi and Atreya. Thank you, Akanksha. Good morning. The month of November is observed as a Diabetes Awareness Month globally, and we are lucky to have an innovator working towards diabetes prevention and care through this innovation. Atreya Innovations, an emerging healthcare technology startup dedicated to redefining well-being beyond traditional health metrics. They believe in uniqueness of individual responses to diet and exercise, leading to their mission providing personalized healthcare experiences. Their approach combines cutting-edge, data-driven, and AI-based predictive algorithms with a blend of modern traditional healthcare techniques. This fusion enables precise diagnosis and tailored recommendations for overall healthcare. Their flagship product, Nadi Tarangini, is the fusion that enables precise diagnostics. It is a groundbreaking Nadi Pariksha system rooted in Ayurveda, provides comprehensive reports, enhancing the diagnostic accuracy. Not content with their current work, Atreya Innovations is actively developing another innovative wellness product in closed alpha trials, highlighting their unwavering commitment to holistic wellness. Founder and CEO of Atreya Innovations, Dr. Anirudh Joshi, a visionary leader with a mission to revolutionize healthcare through the integration of data science driven Ayurveda into personal, predictive, and non invasive health monitoring. His journey is marked by a strong foundation with computer engineering from Mumbai University and a PhD in computer science from IIT Bombay, specializing in data analysis and machine learning. His pioneering work has earned national recognition, including the prestigious National Startup Award 2021 in Ayush category, along with a special mention in Man Ki Baat by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. He has also been honored with an Excellence in IT Award by Ministry of Ayush, acknowledging significant contributions to the field of Ayush. Additionally,
Dr. Joshi's commitment to indigenous research and development has been recognized with the DSIR for his in-house R&D initiatives. With a wealth of expertise, Dr. Anirudh Joshi holds 3 patents and has contributed to over 50 papers and international journals and conferences, solidifying a position as a researcher and an innovator in the field of healthcare innovation. His dedication to research and advancements in future is exemplified by 5-year tenure as a CSI research fellow. In summary, Atreya Innovations is led by Dr. Anirudh Joshi, a driving in healthcare sector towards a brighter and more tailored future. Their dedication to personalization and data-driven solutions empower individuals to lead healthier and more balanced lives. They are pioneers in the wellness revolution, shaping a healthcare future that is inherently responsive to individual health needs. I would like to share a short video clip of a news highlight of his innovation Nadi Therapy. I would like to invite Dr. Anirudh Joshi for sharing his story of innovation.
In last 6 years, I've given so many lectures, invited to so many places, but this is the best introduction I have ever received. Like to have the copy. Thank you so much for inviting me, Emma, and also for the lovely introduction. Well, we heard Asavari here, and she has explained most of the components, how a typical company, how a company is built, how a product is built, and, what should be considered, and so on. So I'm going to start my presentation with my product, explaining you a bit about some portion about Ayurveda, what we have done, and then we'll actually come to my story. Otherwise, the story will not mean much unless we know the product. Yes, next. Yes. Next. All right, great. So I've given the presentation in the PDF format, so you have to do. This is actually a video. Yes. Go to the folder and the video, please. Sorry, the PPT became so big, I had to give in the PDF format. Let's start with the video. Yeah, the Tesla, third one. No, second. Ah. So about 3 weeks ago, Tesla came up with came up with a video, and they launched this particular robo. So that robo is doing a few things. There's a lot of things. So how AI is actually getting something. And slightly fast forward. The video ends with some kind of stretching slash yoga, and it actually does namaste. So let's have a look for a few more seconds. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can see that the namaste word is also there. So that is how much Indians and our ancient knowledge is. And you can stop. You can go back to the. That is how much impact we are actually making on the world. All right. Especially COVID, the pandemic period has helped to go back to the holistic solutions, herbal solutions, natural solutions, and so on. And that's where we actually fall in. So yoga has been accepted well. Lots of research happened in India, outside of India, at Harvard level, and so on. So 1 in 10 people is doing yoga outside of India, and the natural transition is going to be Ayurveda. But those people will accept Ayurveda. Even our age will accept Ayurveda only if it is given in the evidence-based, data-based approach. Not because our ancient people used to follow this, but if it is really proven with respect to numbers, stats, reports, and so on. So that is what we are doing. We are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat. So if we can, really convert our ancient knowledge systems into the modern technologies, then it will really help. So we are creating a sustainable, accessible, and affordable solution. We saw one of them as pad care, but again, the WHO has come up with this particular terminology for the future. Right? This is the current problem. More than 70% of people, especially of our age, are going through the lifestyle-induced problems. So, which are diabetes, cancer, BP, hormonal problems, and so on. There are so many of them, and the root causes are stress, health, strength, sleep issue, weight issue, and so on. And this is where it starts, but eventually it gets converted into some serious problem. And finding out that problem or the solutions, the questions which people usually ask are of three kinds: finding, tracking, or fighting. I mean, we have so many health tech companies falling into one of these categories. Either I want to find out how do I solve my daughter's hormonal imbalance problem. So such questions are asked. Or with respect to tracking, how do I increase my exercise stamina? So something which is going on a continuous basis. And of course, the fighting, the solution part. So one of the three types in which usually the Google has all bank of questions. All these questions in the future are going to be solved by wearables. Okay, wearables is the future of most of the health companies, most of the health tech companies. So it is said that by 2030, we will be either wearing or surrounded by 10 to 15 sensors. So already हम लोग स्मार्ट वॉचेस पहन रहे हैं. Facebook has come up with a goggle. Google Glass is coming up. There are sensors in the belts, in the shoes, and so on. So in the Silicon Valley already there are inserts. So people are actually have inserted the sensors inside the body and continuously tracking is going on. So most of the work is happening outside of India. So where we can contribute in this journey by 2030, if each one of us is going to wear 10 sensors, how we can actually contribute, where we can make a contribution. Again, with respect to smart tests, whether it's smart mirror, different types of dashboards, we saw one of them as Fat Care में एक था dashboard. Corporate wellness, smart corporate. So there's so many dashboards, so much information is getting inserted, tracked, and so on. So where again we can contribute. So that is where we come into the picture. So there is something called Ashtavida Pariksha in Ayurveda. So in allopathy, in typical pathology labs, we see so many products, medical devices, and so on, which are collecting data from your heart, from your blood, from your brain, and so on. So this is how our ancient knowledge base, 5,000-year-old Ayurveda used to do. Let's say X-rays. So these were the 8 X-rays of that time, where they will check the pulse, they'll check the tongue, they'll check the eyes, they'll check the overall shape, and so on. All right. And based on that, the diagnosis will happen. So this is the basis on which the whole work is planned. And if you can create devices based on those ancient methods, they will get categorized as class one, the non-invasive ones, the faster ones, and so on. And it will actually help. I'll skip these. And what we are really creating is an ecosystem where we combine Ayurveda with modern medicine, high tech data analysis, and so on. So ultimately, a balanced person is. So that is how my pre-COVID slide used to look, and now post-COVID, the other circle of self-care is also added now, because most of the solutions are now going to the homes, and we have to make sure that all are combined together for the balance. Okay. So as I said, the root cause, okay, the root cause is sleep, anger, some food issue, indigestion, and so on. And ultimately, it is cultivated into some thyroid anxiety issues. Can we go back to the videos, please? That is a big one. So, we have seen this. Yeah. We all have seen this video, right? Just let's listen to it one more.
आप मुझे सिम्टम आप बताना है बच्चे को क्या मुझे मालूम मैं पूछा बच्चे को क्यों वजह क्या हुआ
Right? So usually हम लोग सिम्टम की तरफ So usually हम लोग symptom की तरफ देखते हैं, and most of the diagnostic systems currently are, you know, diabetes के numbers क्या है, क्यों है, कैसे है, and so on. And the holistic viewpoint was always कि क्यों हुआ है, the root cause क्या है, कहाँ से चालू हुआ है, and if we can actually come up with an integrative solution which combines both Ayurveda as well as the allopathy, the modern way, so that it actually helps us to find out what is the root cause and why it has reached to this particular stage, so that the solution could be even better. Next please. Yeah. So the whole approach of Ayurveda is with respect to personalization aspect, personalized balance or imbalanced state, so that people look different, they think differently, and so on. And so the solution has to be personalized. Yeah. So और दो तीन ही स्लाइड्स आयुर्वेद के बारे में बताऊंगा so that you have some basic knowledge so that I can explain my product. So there is something called Prakriti and there is something called Vikruti, more like genetic, epigenetic kind of approach. So Prakriti is something which you get at your birth and Vikruti is something which you are today. And it's with respect to something called uh, doshatma. So there are three different types of people, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And basically, there are different types of problems which are happening, and the root causes for that is your upbringing, friends, family, your different types of stress, exercise, and so on. So that is exactly why you achieve current problems or disorders or disease state which you are actually getting. And then whether we can, um, solve this problem at a mass scale using some kind of AI model. So we have seen that most of the traditional ways are now, converted into some kind of technology. So maps is now technology based, chess teaching is technology based, suggestions are technology based, and so on. So can we really create technologies for Ayurveda so that they can be accepted at homes, at hospitals, at mass scale? Also, we'll just skip few of the slides. All right. So just last slide with respect to Ayurveda. So we see within our friends and families there are different kinds of people. Okay. So can be categorized into three basic categories. So let's assume that we are going for a movie. Okay. So one type of people are always doing the guessing game. So which movie में क्या होगा and so on. So there's second category of people who are making the plans. किस theater में जाएंगे, कैसे जाएंगे, which movie will watch. And the third category is usually they're just munching the popcorns. If you decide, I will come. That kind of people, right? Then after the movie, there are still, they're still talking about awards, screenplay. There are the second category is deciding now next what, where do we go for the dinner, etc. etc. Third category is still yawning. They're still if you see a snake or some kind of accident, the first category will scream, run away. In accident, they will go away. The second, they will actually try to solve the problem. In the accident also, they will go and solve the problem. The third category, oh, accident, oh, snake, and they will just, keep walking. Uh, Suppose there is a birthday party, all right? So first category will, which one? I know your category. All right. So, कुछ तूफानी करते type of people that will go to debate and ride a camel, something like that. There will be people who are on their games, having fun with friends and families and so on. So typical Varpik of categories and so on. All right. So just wanted to let you all know that different types of people are there. They get different types of treatments from the environment, from the virus, from the bacteria, from all kind of allergies and so on. And so each person should be treated differently. That's all I wanted to establish. All right, I'll go now to my product. Next 10 slides, I'll explain what we have actually built. And then I will actually start with my story, how, as a computer engineer, how I started, into Nadi Pariksha, and now I have a full-fledged product and company in place. So one of those Ashtavida Pariksha, eightfold analysis, one of them is Nadi Pariksha. Okay. And we can see that uh, this is basically patient's hand, and this is doctor's hand. How many of you actually know Nadi Pariksha? Otherwise, I will skip the slide. Okay, many don't know, so maybe I'll explain. And the doctor checks the pulse at three locations called Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And essentially, what they get information about the entire body about the patient is with respect to movements, energy, and structures. All right. So movements in the sense that hand movement, respiration movement, blood movement, movement of thoughts, so many things which are are in transit and so on. At second fingertip, you get information about energies, metabolism, food, and so many things. And kapha is all about structure. So basically, your lubrication, skin, and something which you can actually see, right? So there's some input, there is transformation, there is output, there is storage, something which you are throwing away, and so on. So what essentially is happening is there is one tube, there's one artery, and there is something is flowing. So the water is flowing, and you're checking the pulse at three locations. Okay? So such same pressure is applied here, and from below there is muscle, there are bones, there is space, and because of which there is fluid dynamics which is happening inside that tube, and which is creating the pressure variations inside that particular line. Okay? And that is what actually is picked up by these three human sensors. All right. Yeah. So instead of three human sensors, what we have developed is Nadi Tarangini, and it has three pressure sensors. All right, I'll come to the journey from where it started and how we got this form factor and all. But essentially, it is picking up the three pressure signals at those three locations, and my proprietary algorithms, which we have developed over the years, is actually converting that pressure energy into, of course, the electrical energy. There are graphs, there are signals, storage, and ultimately you get a number of report cards. So for the first time, Ayurveda has its own diagnostic report so that doctor and patient can have a full conversation, and in typical allopathy based normal the way GPs does, now Ayurveda doctors can actually do the conversation based. We'll see how this works. Can we go back video please? How the product works basically. Uh, yeah, the yes. You can mute. I'll speak. Okay, it's already here. So this is patient's hand. Doctor is holding the sensors. You see three graphs. Assume ECG has 12 leads. Similarly, our product has three graphs. We collect the data for about a minute, and the report card is actually giving the three signals, its comparison. You can see we are giving 22 Ayurvedic parameters based on that. So similar to blood report where you get green zone, orange zone, red zone. Again, Ayurvedic parameters has various zones. It comes with all kinds of symptoms, suggestions, summaries, and also do's and don'ts, all kind of lifestyle recommendations with respect to diet, yoga, music, and so on. So that is how a very comprehensive report card our product generates. And go back to the PPT, please. Yeah. So as I said, the doctor-patient conversation can happen. So this is the first kind of diagnostic system which we have come up with, and it can we started with Ayurvedic doctors. Now we are also selling to spas, wellness centers. We are going to gyms in next couple of quarters, and so many applications, so many locations, and similar to Goki or Healthify Me, I'm sure many of you have heard about these names. We provide different types of food cards. We give personalized advice on the mobile app, and ultimately, of course, there is a coach system with respect to teleconsultation, where they can have more conversations with the patients. So let me go back to my journey now. So I was a typical engineer, and I gave my GRE, I gave this, I gave that, trying to understand where exactly is the path forward. And that's my father. He himself is a Padma Bhushan chemical scientist. So he was not well, and he took the Ayurvedic treatment back then. And whatever I talked about the fluid dynamics and all, so this was actually his idea that if there is really fluid dynamics which is happening here, and this is what if our ancient, Charak Shishru, the data scientists of that time, if they have collected this so much information and converted into shlokas, so why not to solve this from a technology point of view, so that a solution can be created, and the way he got treated well, millions of people, can get the Ayurvedic treatment in the most sophisticated manner. So that's why he asked me to work on this. So I started my PhD on this particular topic. So I started working on different types of sensors. I mean, right now what I have is a pressure sensor, piezo sensor. But of course, we started with the optical sensor. I started with a mic, different types of pressure sensors, and so on. And every time I used to, come up with a solution that this sensor, this data acquisition system, and finally some printout, some output. I used to go to the Vaidyas, go to the doctors, showing them this is what this is what we can actually see. So this feeling information versus this visualization based system, and so on. And every time the doctors were not happy or Vaidyas were not happy, and so on, that whatever they feel, the complexity level at which you can actually see the ups and downs, they were not able to visualize. So one of the sensors, not this, but 2007 version, uh, when I actually came up with that particular sensing methodology, a printout was taken, and I came to Pune to show this particular printout to the doctor. And looking at the printout, the Vaidya Ashok Bhatt, who actually treated my father, so he said that this particular waveform which is appearing on this printout is a female pulse. This pulse is 20, 35, that age group kind of pulse. This particular person is having a chest pain. That chest pain is because of acidity, and and he gave a ask her to do so actually. So that was a more like a eureka moment. Okay, I had taken pulse of my wife at that time, of course, she was not my wife at that time, but I had taken her graph only because she was having chest pain and I had come up with a solution. So that was more like a eureka moment. Just by looking at the printout, he was able to find who that person is, what that person is going through, what is the root cause, most important, what is the root cause and what could be the solution, right? So main point was done that is what I thought at that time, that I have come up with a device, come up with a sensor which converts this very tiny important information of pressure into some kind of technology, some kind of waveform. Okay. But then now I realize the whole journey is to actually give meanings, mathematical characterization, standardization to these signals, what he actually saw or what he actually feels, right? So that's the huge journey which we are now working on. So that was the sensor part. When I submitted my first, you know, first in the sense, I'm calling it first because I wrote thesis twice. When I submitted my PhD thesis back in 2009, I again resubmitted in 2010. The first unofficial, feedback that we received was, that because the whole work is based on Ayurveda, and as Ayurveda is not science in today's language, your PhD may not get accepted, and so on. So that's why we submitted literally the similar thesis, but we rewrote the thesis in the sense that reduced the Ayurveda content, increased more like physiological signal from this particular location and so on. So that was the first trigger point that if I have seen so many doctors, I mean, at that time I was working with only five Vaidyas, but so many Vaidyas, so many patients getting cured, so many papers I had, and still how can this, science or this work can be called non-scientific? So that was the first, more like a trigger point that we have to solve this. We have to make sure that this technology actually comes out to people. It gets its due recognition, and it actually then helps you eventually. Yeah. So the thesis was not only accepted, but we received at that time almost 1.35 crore rupees to actually prove the thesis, to convert the thesis into a prototype level. So that funding came from CSIR, and CSR 800 was the actual program, and I worked as a principal investigator at NCL, National Chemical Lab, Pune here, and where we actually so whatever technology or whatever sensor I had, we came up with this form factor looking kind of device. We installed this at 20 hospitals across western side of India. So right from Gandhinagar to Bangalore, we installed at so many locations, collected more than 24,000 people's data. Every data point actually had person information, medical information, doctors inputs, nadi graphs, and so on, and very computer science methodology was applied for what is the classification accuracy, what is the sensitivity, specificity, and we received some kind of good results with respect to doctors' inputs. So whatever were our findings, they matched X% with respect to doctors' inputs, and that's how 2014 we submitted the final report to the to the CSR body basically. And during those days, similar session was going on, and Anand Deshpande of Persistent Systems. So he happened to see the work, all right. And I was in NCL. My academic journey was going well. My scientific journey was going well, and he actually, motivated, highly motivated me to come out of the academic journey and start my own company. So that was a very big battle at home. I mean, during the breakfast session, we were discussing that कि एक एक होता है कि very regular salaried profession where you get monthly income, a very safe income every month, and there is a completely different journey where you have you start your own journey, and which is very you never know where you will reach. I come from very academic background. I told about my dad, both my brothers, all dad's sisters, unke betiya, everyone are teachers. Okay, either they're teachers or professors or some researchers in different companies and so on. I'm only outlier. I've been outlier throughout my life. So in technology department, I did work on Ayurveda. वहाँ पे भी मैं outlier. Today also we have three female speakers. I'm on the outlier. I'm been outlier at most of my throughout my journey. So here we actually established the efficacy, the accuracy, the validation process in most computer science point of view, and then I started my company, Ray Innovations. All right. So this is the form factor which it has now. Yeah. When I started company in 2015, it's a very large conference. I met Dr. Valiyakan, Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Valiyakan. He's a he's a I think cardiac surgeon or something, but now also working in the field of Ayurveda. When I presented my work to him, he gave me different types of advices. But one of the advices was also about about the product. He said that we Indians are very good at innovation, but not good in presentation, in the sense that अपने products अच्छे दिखते नहीं is what essentially he said. So we went to Mr. Satish Gokhale, design directors, one of the best product designers of India, of course globally also. He has won most of the Filmfare Awards of product designing and so on. So we went to him saying that we want to establish a Nadi product and so on. And typical product design journey happened, and I'm very happy to tell you that this product has received multiple design awards also. So Lexus Design Award, Business World Design Award, and so on. So very futuristic design awards with respect to Ayurveda and so on. Uh, Next, many points are very technical, but I mean, the next 15-20 minutes, I've gathered information with respect to how actually the product works, what are the research outcomes, and so on. So, which I'm going to share with all. And next 15 minutes, it's hardcore non-linear dynamics, which is actually happening here, and how we have actually solved the problem. So I'll go through the research outcomes for sure, but if time permits, or if you're all interested, I'll also go into the non-linear dynamics part, right? All right. So far we have more than 800 um, you know Ayurveda centers across India, which are where our Nadi Tarangi product is operational. We have catered to more than 350,000 patients. So the diagnosis happened, the reports happened, the conversation happened for between doctors and patients. We have commercial 9 MOUs in India, outside of India. I'll show you the results which we have established with respect to correlations with ancient shlokas. So one German-based company actually wants to establish Ayurveda in Germany. But of course, for India, the seasons are different, people are different. So they are providing us money just to do data collection and establish the rules of Ayurveda in Germany. So you can see how people are really looking for the solutions from us. Sorry. Yeah, please, please.
Has been done with Ayurveda practitioner as it is telling throughout the Western India from Mumbai to Bangalore, whatever. So anywhere it has been also given to allopathic doctors, and whatever their diagnosis is compared with what happens with your Nadi. So comparison between Ayurvedic and like current was allopathy. Whether it was my question that you can go into this.
Sure. Actually, I have answered maybe 10 slides down the line. If you can, yeah, great, excellent. So the product has been, sir also talked about important certifications and approval processes. So we have started with respect to that IIC certification, CDSCO, C is also going on. Our patent has been granted in Europe, US, Indonesia regions, awards by a few government-based agencies and so on. And currently we are catering to 5,000 to 7,000 people every day. And our journey will take us to 50 lakh patients every day in 5 years. That is how we see ourselves going ahead. I'll go through a couple of so these figures are from my PhD. How actually Nadi is created. Some theories about how we are, what exactly are we sensing. I'll start with that. So this is our heart. Some pumping action is going on. There is a pump, and this is the artery. So when the blood is pumped into the artery, because the artery is very flexible, it expands basically, and it gets its original size back. So when it is coming back, now this region works as the next pump, and now again it is pushing blood forward and so on. So that is how continuously up down up down up down kind of artery is happening. So you can imagine that some pumping action which started here has an effect throughout your body, and it's also is here. So one of the theories how pulse is. The second theory, can we run a video again, please? Yes. So again, some signal has started here, and it is going throughout the body through your blood network. And at every bifurcation, some information, something comes back. And so a particular big pulse beat gets attached a secondary wave. And now the bifurcations are at so many locations throughout your body. That's why the pulse becomes more and more complex, and that is how the pulse signal or the pulse wave is getting generated. You can go back to the presentation. So there is second, theory how a pulse is generated, how it is getting its complexity, and so on. Third one is called lung model. There are so many theories. These are the three which I have mentioned in my thesis. The third one is called lung model. The whole body, any organ system, again can be considered more as an electrical full network, where your heart is more like a battery, your voltage source, and every organ system can be considered as some combination of resistor, capacitor, inductor, and so on. So something is passing through, something is blocked, more like a resistance, and something is increased, decreased, and so on. So suppose there is problem in this particular organ and some resistance value has increased, okay? But because all organs of everything is in series, uh, the heart decides to make sure that current flows in a regular fashion throughout the body. Either it starts pumping more times or it pumps more, something like that. So it takes a decision with respect to this particular resistance value, because everything is in series and parallel. Even this hand location where the pulse is available, where we are checking the pulse, is also having that particular information and so on. So the same heart signal is also available. So you can see multiple theories have been come that the same heart signal becomes more and more complex, and ultimately whatever we are feeling here is slightly complexer than what we have started. Okay, I'll skip these slides. Basically, how a typical pressure sensor, uh, Guru Shishya Parampara and so on. Typically, what we are doing is So different types of signals. So most of us have seen ECG signals, different types of ECG. So similarly, we get different types of pulse signal. You can see that there are multiple ups, downs, and so on, or sometimes they are missing and so on. And yeah. All right. And what essentially we are doing is we are converting the Ayurvedic language of defining a particular pulse signal using the computer science language. Okay, so that is how I started in PhD, continued in postdoc, and now our research team is continuously working. So, Sarpagati, Mandukagati, Hausagati. So in ancient days, doctors used to teach their students feel the pulse and check whether you can feel more like a Sarpagati, whether your pulse is moving like a snake, or Mandukagati, whether your pulse is jumping like a frog, and so on. So, Guru used to teach the students in different types of, gatis of animals, birds, and so on. And the same we have converted into, uh, speed, frequency, shape, amplitudes, and so on. So if time permits, of course, in nonlinear section, this all will get very much clear how it actually helps. Well, the work started, uh, the very, oops, I gave the wrong presentation. Sorry. Sorry, let's come back to this. Look to this. Basically, um, next schema. Yes. Uh, so visualization. So visualization, instead of that, we have signals. So this year, a GR has been passed that our product will get installed at all Ayurveda colleges to actually teach students how Nadi Pariksha works. Okay, so for the first time, visualization is the way. So, so basically the way I as an engineer learned coding on computers. So when I back in 2003, 4, um, we had two computers in our colleges, in our college. 60 students used to work on those two computers to actually learn the coding. So in similar fashion, for the first time, students are going to get Nadi machines, and also we have, of course, all other video-based, audio-based apps to teach other Ashtavida Pariksha also. So we have app for tunnel analysis, Akruti Pariksha, and so on. But basically that is what. Next. A few results I want to show, and then I will answer your question, how we are going towards. Hello. So this is our first research study which happened after I started my company. Uh, so we chose number of students and specifically of Vata category, Pitta category, and Kapha category. We gave them Vata provoking, Pitta provoking, and Kapha provoking food, okay, for a number of days. And we did pre-post analysis. This was the first experiment with respect to how food works as medicine. All right. So you can see that many students were given mastani, which is sweet milkshake, were given ginger tea, and of course herbal chana and so on. And how it has been depicted in our ancient shlokas, it actually matched that sometimes nadi expands, sometimes it moves around, and so on. So it actually matched with the various results. Next, we did very simple experiment at MIT College here in Pune, and 45 students were chosen who have never done Surya Namaskar in them. So those such students were chosen, and they did the Surya Namaskar for about 15 days, inactive 15 days, inactive 15 days, inactive 15 days, and so on. And again, nadis were taken pre-post, 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 and so on. And one of the parameters which our report card gives it with respect to nadi pala. So something which reflects the energy, immunity of your body and so on. We actually showed that how Surya Namaskar is actually helping the students to increase their energy levels, immunity and so on. So how yoga works, how Surya Namaskar works and so on. We also did next week. We also did with as a different Panchakarma sets us at on different Panchakarma treatments, how different parameters actually get affected with respect to Panchakarma treatments. Next. Uh, uh, this next 2 3 slides I'm going to present actually gave us most of the awards, most of our money, most of our MOUs, and so on. So our products were installed at so many locations throughout India, and the whole data comes on our centralized server. So we started working on that data on more like a more statistically and so on. So this is about 26,000 people data, Maharashtra to Delhi. So our assumption is seasonal component is some more is more like constant. So people who came to these centers in January who are of Vata category, their digestive fire, so their one particular Agni parameter, that average is basically plotted here. Pitta people here, Kapha people here. Then whoever came in February and so on. So basically very simple, but it actually showed that Pitta category people have higher digestive fire as compared to Kapha people as compared to Vata. It has been there. It's there in shlokas, but for the first time we showed through completely data approach that these numbers are actually different. Again, if you see, they have this kind of structure, very random data collected from random locations and so on. So now we are doing very sophisticated data collection and so on. But still, you can see that during this region, everyone's digestion is low. The people, their own level, the digestion is low and so on. So which is our rainy season. Maybe that's why the some kind of fasting was prescribed on those in those. These are just our guesses. We haven't written much on these fronts. Again, you can see uh, a particular category. So, Prakriti Vikruti, which I just mentioned, there are three categories. So, in 3 by 3 matrix, if we know a particular person, their prahar wise. So, we have 6 prahars throughout the day: morning prahar, afternoon prahar, late afternoon, evening, night, and so on. So every day we are a different person in the morning, different person in the afternoon, different person in the evening, different person at night. So we actually showed how different calorie based diet is important during the day and during night. Very interestingly, same data, but instead of plotting January, February, March, we actually plotted against Hindu calendar. So the uh, now the average was taken on Prathamas, Dvitiyas, Tritiyas, Chaturthis, and so on. So you can see that the Shukla Paksha has higher number of the same Agni parameter, digestion parameter, as compared to the Krishna parameter. And there are so many references that, when the moon is increasing, it has different effects on our body. When moon is increasing, it has different. So now the again data-based approach to show that you are a different person on Shukla Paksha, different person in Krishna Paksha. Again, you see we are still collecting data, but if you see that numbers go up, come down around Ekadashi, again go up, again come down Ekadashi, and so on. So you can imagine how much our ancient people have really thought about what parameters are changing throughout our body on a continuous basis every day and so. Similarly, so many parameters we give in our report cards, and all those again have very seasonal components. So many people have typical issues in rainy season, typical issues in winter season, typical issues in summer season, and so on. So this actually gives idea about us about them. So pre-COVID, we were working with Unilever very precisely. If you are of this category, which soap to use, which shampoo to use, to solve that particular problem, and so on. So you can imagine how companies actually work on this. So I think I'll stop here at the moment with respect to all the research that we are doing. And to answer your question, so the whole work of Ayurveda is very, very wellness, well-being concentrated, and it is very difficult to actually convince Ayurveda people to talk to allopathy people to Ayurveda people. Throughout our journey so far, it was very difficult, but because of couple of odds, now that journey has started. We have received almost about a 1 CR grant from Niti Aayog to work on diabetes. So for the first time, uh, a health disease is going to be diagnosed or monitored using a using a Ayurveda approach. Of course, we are going to work in 20 states, 10,000 people data collection, actually validate our hypothesis, and then only, of course, we will commercialize. And very happy to announce the first pilot is of that, but the whole procedure is going to happen in IRSHA and in this institute. The the signature Supriya Balera is going to run that particular is going to run that project, and we are starting with the data collection very soon. Couple of products, Naditharan products, are going to be in Irsha. So all of you are most welcome to actually work on it, observe it, how it actually works, what extra can be done, and so on. So we have taken first problem as diabetes to because commercially it has good impact. There are 20 crore people who are affected at this moment in India. Of course, worldwide also the number is very huge. So that's why we have chosen that as the first. Of course, we are also going to work on hormonal problems, anxiety, and so on. So we are working with different, we are writing different for different grants and so on. So from
Sure. They can participate.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. So yes, so we are going to work on it, and 5 years down the line, I see the that allopathy and Ayurveda actually, joining hands together. This May, we were the one of the products which were, invited to WHO at Geneva at a grand, marketplace opening in Geneva, and we actually did Nadi Pariksha of 25 ambassadors of different 25 countries. They were absolutely amazed कि ऐसे कुछ होता है. We actually gave them the Nadi Pariksha, of course, in the anonymous way, but that is how the world is actually looking for extra information which is available right now in terms of blood report, ECG report, EEG report, and so on. Some additional information is needed, and that's where we come into the picture. It's a very long journey. I always say um, that it has taken 50 uh, generations to the first ECG thought process concept, first ECG signal, to the most sophisticated ECG machine, or I watch now giving cardiovascular outputs. That has taken so many generations. So again, the Nadi or the Ayurveda establishing similar, that every person at least knows about Ayurveda, at least accepts that the ancient ways is possible, and so on. So at the moment, the statistics say 2% of global people uh, have faith in ancient, science. Out of which, again, 60% are Chinese medicine, 30% is Korean medicine, Ayurveda is 14%. So you can imagine there is a very long road, and that's the, I mean, that's a huge need. And I think, solutions like ours will actually help, getting that particular position where we actually make a statement to the world with respect to Ayurveda. So with that, I will stop today. Thank you very much. Thank you again for giving me the. I'm happy to answer if there are any more questions. Sorry, stress is negative. नहीं समझा what is the question? I'm not getting it. One of the parameters which was stress you are saying. Okay, so basically, so numbers are achieved, and let me tell you, there is nothing positive or negative with any of those 22 parameters. Okay, for example, Agni, is low Agni good or bad? Is high Agni good or bad? So depending upon who the person is, what is the seasonal component, and what actually I'm going to do right at the moment. Uh, for example, right now I'm giving a lecture here, right? So I have to be high energy. So I have to be very different person. And as compared to when I'm in my office working on something, doing my coding, I have to be a completely different person. So at that time, my stress level has to be different. At this moment, my stress level has to be different. So if you have read about the runner, Namisal, what Phillips or um, so he increases his anxiety level before he runs, right? So that is how. So so there is nothing negative or positive about stress. We give the number saying that so much is your thought process, so much your stress. Now whether you want to work on that, that's a doctor's decision and patient decision. Suppose that person is of different category, the 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 the, the discussions will happen in that direction. Have I answered your question?
Yeah. Then motivate बिकॉज स्ट्रेस की सिवाय इंसान नहीं चलता स्ट्रेस इज द फैक्टर कि जिसकी वजह से इंसान काम करने के लिए मोटिवेटेड ये नहीं कि अभी तक आई एम ओपन टू लर्निंग कि क्या हो रहा है कैसे है रिसर्च पेपर अभी पढ़ूंगा इसके बारे में बट ऑलवेज आई थिंक कि इसमें जितना मेडिकल एक्सपर्ट हो या साइकोलॉजिकल फैक्टर है तो मेंटल हेल्थ प्रोफेशनल हो इनके जितने रिसर्च पेपर आएंगे तब तक ये उतना
You're most welcome to visit our place. We are in Ginjavdi. We can arrange some industry visit or something. We can discuss further on this, what we have published, what others have published, what our competitors are doing. For example, she mentioned about Shark Tank. One of our competitors, Ayurvedam, went to Shark Tank. I received my first funding from another Shark Tank, which is IIT level Shark Tank, and so on. We are going for the second round and so on. So there's so much work which is going on with respect to Ayurveda. In the morning, I was telling the numbers. The health industry is 4.5 trillion. The Ayurveda industry has become 4 billion to 24 billion in last 4 years because of COVID, and it is going to increase. So a lot of people, because of Modi ji, Ramdev Baba, so many other people, and the requirement from herbal components on. So the industry is increasing. So a lot of competition, a lot of work is happening in this area. So I will be happy to.
Anything with all the competitors means what kind of things they are doing?
So so there are three major competitor areas in the sense that one is mobile based. So there is this particular sensor. So so if you so during our during the pandemic days, there were so many solutions which came on this.
Right.
That you put your finger like this, it will give some signal. Based on that, you will get the oxygen level. Instead of pulse oximeter, there were camera oximeters. So similar to our pressure sensor based signals, even this gives.
Okay.
So the company Ayurvedam, and there are so many which work on this particulars. Then there is second category which is capacitive pressure sensor based. So there is a product called Veda Pulse. There is a few more companies, especially from Russia, Germany. So they are working on this particular sensor. And then there is third category, which is optical sensor. Again, this is kind of optical sensor, but there are better optical sensors through which even, more like a pen. So this may be an optical sensor. Right? So, if I put this pen and whatever is reflected, so what they actually do is they send light energy and something is reflected back. So the hue content in the red region of this particular signal, which is reflected, also gives some kind of pulse signal. And most of the work, can you start the I'll show one slide. Most of these approaches actually gives the heart rate variability based answers. I want to show you how we are working in other this thing also, but if time permits, I'll do that. But yeah. So you get some kind of heart rate variability signal. Now this is arterial pulse intervals, but heart rate. So same your iWatch or Fitbit also gives heart rate variability, right? And based on that, you take different types of frequency components. So this is a typical FFT, and you get low frequency, very low frequency, high frequency components, and they are basically correlated with Vata. Again, with respect to rate and rhythm, whether Vata goes faster, Pitta goes medium, Kapha goes slower. So with respect to frequency components, you get some information. With respect to amplitude, you get some information. So these all competitors are more into heart rate variability, and precisely what we have generated is the pulse signal. So more like Jati based and very mimicking the Ayurvedic method. So ours is the costliest. All other solutions are very, very, very cost effective. But reliability wise, accuracy wise, and I always tell here all those Fitbits and iWatches from millions of people, they have collected billions of data. But still, those personalization aspect or the diabetes aspect, for example, still we have not cracked. So definitely that information is missing in that data itself, which we claim we have. Now, 1 year down the line, IRSHA and our project will actually prove that through our pulse signal, we can diagnose diabetes. We want to go beyond with the personalization aspect, in the sense that if my lifestyle is good, the 5.6 or 120, those blood numbers can be slightly better, in the sense that they can go slightly up. If my lifestyle is bad, I'm really stressed person, those numbers should come down. It defines whether I'm diabetic or pre-diabetic. So that is how we see the future, that um, it has to be very, very personalized.
What is cost of your device?
We sell this to only doctors, and we sell this at 50,000, 55,000 rupees to the doctors. So today we are selling one per day. And, with the fundraise, we are going to do 2 a day, 3 a day by end of this finance.
And what is other cost you take in addition to machine?
Nothing. We charge one time. So we tried multiple options, one time charging, subscription and all. But the doctor business is very different. They are like, एक बार जितना चाहिए उतना ले लो, but so that's why we came up with one time. We thought that outside of India we'll do the subscription base. We are doing some component, but बाहर भी वैसा ही है. So बाहर we sell at 1.5 lakh, 2 lakh, depending upon in which country we are. But there also subscription is surprisingly not worth.
Because in your industry, these days subscription models are more preferred model.
We are still learning. It's too early to say anything about the international world. We started just a couple of months ago. We are in 12 countries at the moment, but which are all developed countries. So we are still learning. There is a huge demand for Ayurveda from outside of India also. So actually, outside of India, it's actually simpler to sell. So 1.5 lakh is nothing for them, and they want solution. They are waiting for something. We are still figuring out. Our support system is not still ready. मतलब मुझे लगा था चालू करेंगे तो बेचेंगे 3 महीने में पहला जाएगा उसको. So you are not ready with respect to support system. रात को भी एक कोई telecaller, we have to make sure that that person is in place, which we don't have. So our sales manager is actually also, India sales manager is actually answering queries from outside. So we are working on it.
Great.
Dr. Aniruddha Joshi, I don't know how to praise you. You have done exactly what is required. Really, I don't know how to praise you. Really, I am so impressed what you have done. Only one small question. You need to know Sanskrit.
Yeah, and a little bit, not much.
You can do without it.
My doctors know Sanskrit. So that was a very difficult decision that Vaidyanathan took. in time that I should not learn that. I had started, but there are so many Guru Shishya Paramparas. In Pune itself, there is a Nanal Parampara, like Bhat Parampara, there is Khadiwale Vaidya Parampara, and so many of them. And every parampara has a different nadi sensing methodology, analysis, medicines, and so on. And what we really want to do is we want to establish a ecosystem. And she also mentioned about an ecosystem, ultimately a platform which combines nadi gyan of every parampara, every gharana. So that's why if I learn, I will digitize my own nadi. So that's why. I mean, I'm not saying I should not learn Sanskrit, but right now I'm doing more management lessons than such.
What is connection between Joshi and Athre?
Well, Atreya was a Rishi who actually propagated the Ayurveda throughout the world, is what is the story. The Dhanvantari Rishi थे उनके इंद्र थे इंद्र ने सारा knowledge base धन्वंतरी से मतलब there is a very different stories. So we want to do that in innovation and technology. That's why the name Atreya Missions. So मेरा गोत्र और वो Yes. Purely Ayurvedic doctors because our current report card is very, very Ayurvedic. It gives 22 parameters which they learn in their curricular system and so on. It will take time to get this knowledge into typical allopathy based setup. 1 year down, so 1 year down the line, we see that uh, pathology labs or diabetologists using this particular system, where our output is in their language. Right now, our output is more. So we have now come up with a spa-centric report card. So we see that now spa wellness centers using this system. 3 years down the line, we are coming up with a gym-centric because many gyms has a nutritionist, many gyms are talking about wellness and so on. So very gym specific one pager report card where we talk to those people. So that version is coming up. So we started with Ayurveda wellness centers. Slowly we'll go to different. Um, at the moment, Uttarakhand government. So there are 8 lakh primary healthcare centers in India. Uh, my understanding is about 1 lakh of them are digitally enabled, out of which in Uttarakhand, first 22 healthcare systems now has Nadi Taranga installed. So at the same time, allopathy-based and Ayurveda-based report cards are coming. We are still working on them, but maybe 200 doctors say in Pune. So we have a teleconsultation facility here, and from 1 lakh centers, Ayurveda-based report cards are coming, and we are actually catering to tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 healthcare centers based on Ayurveda report. So that is how we see the future. I mean, completely different. We are working a very interesting project with respect to yajna. How really yajna, changes. So there are common people's data, people who are near that yajna for those 13, 14, 15 days, near to them and following all food related, all other related, and only following only food and all, but not near them. Whether what is the effect of yajna on you. So there's so many things, all ancient different experiments we are doing. It's a long road.
From your different machines which you are selling, you are getting data, but
compulsorily data resides on our server. All the intelligence generates on our server. Even with TCS, the project we are doing with TCS, with respect to corporate wellness, the data essential, completely anonymous way, but comes only on our server. Only we own the pulse data. We do not give that data to anyone. Sorry to say, but even IRSHA will not have the access to data. But of course, we will be collaborators, so we'll work together on that. But yeah, that is our main.
You have,
So yes.
do you have any wellness center in Pune?
Our website is called naditarangani.com. Naditarangani.com/locator. And you enter any city and write, I want something in 2 kilometers, 5 kilometers, 20 kilometers. It will actually show you the clinic locations which are which are Nadi Tarangini enabled. If you click on that particular thing, you see the doctor name, phone number, address, everything. So you can actually go visit and experience.
So you must have trained your Ayurvedic doctor with this
Yes,
device.
yes. The training is going on confirmations. Yes. Yes.
And then they will give you Ayurvedic medicine.
That is their own decision. We don't interfere into that. So at this moment, sadly, 85% of Ayurvedic doctors, I mean, she can tell you more, but more about 85% of Ayurvedic doctors are also doing some kind of allopathy-based practice. So of course, आता दिवस चांगले आहेत. So many of them are coming back to Ayurveda, but medicines is not something which we restrict ourselves to numbers. Now, how to interpret those numbers, what to do with those numbers, how to convince those numbers, and what exactly to give based on those numbers, that is completely doctors. We, of course, give the diet recommendations, yoga recommendations in our report card, but that is all completely, holistic lifestyle kind of answers.
So this will be follow-up means after giving the treatment or advice. So
It's too early to say.
Individuals with different liking for normal, pre-diabetic, then diabetic, up to certain level, and then diabetic, which is uncontrolled. So we'll see that whether there is a difference in the nano patterns of it. And then we will use these nano patterns to screen those who don't know that they have diabetes. Can be recognized.
Yes, ma'am.
You were actually given report in terms of Ayurvedic parameters. What I personally feel, majority of even Ayurvedic doctors, as you said, prescribe modern medicine, and most of the people take modern medicine first before turning to Ayurveda as their treatment. So, in case you are able to give both the things, I mean, if you are able to convert it in modern medicine language, maybe its application is going to be wider and more acceptable, more public is going to be benefited with that. Other thing, I don't know what your diabetes you are trying to evaluate. But is it that you will also evaluate hyperglycemia by just finger touch, which also has become possible now that you don't have to take finger prick to evaluate blood sugar level. You can do it because then maybe if you can correlate well with modern medicine, I mean, because that is the only parameter modern medicine handles as well as diabetes.
Uh, Answer to your second question, ma'am, I'll not give at the moment. We'll take it offline because this is not the forum where I can speak about that. About your first, the recommendation, your suggestion is well taken. In fact, we are launching first of its similar kind report card in Dubai in on 15th of January. There's a huge conference where we are launching this and in Arabic language. So yes, we are simplifying. We are making sure that this knowledge base goes to as many people as possible, and common people at the moment understand allopathic language. So yes, it has to be presented to them in that particular language. The second answer I'll keep to myself at the moment, but we'll speak now.
DJ, there are sensors for diabetic people. They
Yes,
can put the sensors and monitor
the patches.
24 hours.
So
That can help in the
absolutely, absolutely. So yes, there are patches and which are 24/7 continuously recording that particular data. Of course, we have to change those patches every 15 days, and those are also. Oh, it's not. Anyways, but we are coming up with a variable which will do the same thing, 24 hours monitoring. 1 year down the line, if we prove diabetes patterns are available, the same sensor, the same variable which is on this side will do diabetes monitor on 20%. So yes, we are going to replace this patch with a non-invasive analysis.
It will be more convenient if it is on that.
Absolutely. So my team, Parag is my friend from IIT Bombay. He takes care of the technology and hardware part basically. And Shruti and Tejaswini are my current main domain experts from Ayurveda angle, from nutrition angle, from research angle. So Shruti is the one who is in touch with Dr. Supriya. Basically, they are actually going to run this particular research project together. Okay, all right. Thank you very much once again. Let me share my phone number and email ID with you all. If you have any more questions, anything, please feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful session. Everything is theoretically impossible until it is practically done. So we'll have a lunch break and we'll gather at 2. Yes, that means